What's up, my dudes? Valk here. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys a review on Sukuna, who is very hotly contested because he is a DOT-based unit, meaning a lot of his damage happens over time, where I'm going to be real with you guys, I'm not 100% sure where I put him. Simply because he is very hard to actually grind for. I have been grinding since the update, and I only have him ranked 4 because you need to grind multiple stages to actually be able to get him up. You can see here you have to grind for rank 5. I have to go grind this from world 5 stage 3, and then I have to grind that from world 1 stage 2, whereas the rank before that I had to grind from world 5 stage 1 as well as world 5 stage 3 as well as world 1 stage 2. So you get the idea. You're going to be grinding a ton for Sukuna. So I didn't want to do this showcase because I have it very invested in Sukuna already, because I got really lucky and pulled him shiny, and then 5 rerolls into his traits I rolled Omnipotent. So I only have him ranked 4 right now, so keep that in mind when you're looking at that. My opinion could very much change due to how base scaling works and exponential values. I think he could potentially be a good unit at rank 10, but I have to get there first. I almost have him level 100, so this is going to give us a really good look at what he can do, and I want to kind of showcase where I believe he's strong at and where I think he lacks. And I'm going to kind of just talk about it while I go ahead and run stage 3-5 or stage 5-3 1, because then I can showcase him as well and showcase the good old kitchen, and 2, then I can also talk about what I believe his strengths and weaknesses are. First off, where is he really good at? He is really good at being cheap. He's very cheap with very good damage, but he has very awful, and I do mean awful, AoE on placement. So you have to have enough funds to basically get him to either upgrade 3 top or bottom path to be able to do anything. Another thing is a lot of the meta units and a lot of the really good units inside the game all pretty much have access to a full AoE or a massive AoE at some point, which he lacks because he is mostly all about doing this DOT. He's all about applying his DOT and doing it very well. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to potentially push him to cleave after this next wave, and then we're going to turn around and start working on Bulma, because once he's cleave, he'll be good to go. But you guys can see what I mean by this very tiny AoE he has on placement, but it doesn't matter, because once he gets this bottom path is insanely good, and it's going to allow him to actually take care of a lot of the early waves. So now that we have him on the bottom path, I can go ahead and talk about all sorts of goodies, because I want to talk about where he's strong and where he's weak, because I've been using him quite a bit. I've been limit testing him a ton inside Challenge Rift, and I do believe he's very strong on his last upgrades on both top and bottom path. I have tested them and seen the damage capabilities. Top path, he can do insane damage once you get there, and bottom path, same thing. But in comes the weaknesses in the fact that because he has such high multipliers onto his DOT, the way he's been balanced is the fact that he has very low base damage. Now that very low base damage, as you can see right now, if I click him, 6,107 for an omnipotent almost level 100 unit, right? So he has really low base damages on everything but his bottom path final upgrade, because it costs 53k to actually be able to get. So because he has that, it basically makes it so he's not, he's like in the middle, right? Like, he can be good at defending early waves if you're able to abuse Mangekyo and his ability to stack DOTs, but he also can't be good at defending early waves if you don't have the resources to basically plug a giant base attack into him. A good example is Omnipotent. If you don't have Omnipotent, you're probably going to really struggle with early waves on him inside Challenge Rift whenever Challenge Rift gets really difficult, simply because the fact that he's not going to have the base attack available to him. I'll showcase him in Challenge Rift afterwards to give you guys an idea of like roughly what he can do. This will be like the first unit I ever like have this long of a showcase for, because I do really want to showcase what his problems are so you're fully aware before you invest into him of exactly what you can expect from him, even though I have one with Omnipotent. I do believe he's 3 placement though, whenever you actually do have him. I do believe he's 3 placement. But you guys can see here his damage. So his DOT percent on the bottom path. Let me go ahead and put a Sakura down so he doesn't get stunned on repeat. So his DOT percent on the bottom path, from what I could see, the ticks will do about 8%, like 8 to, well, 7 to 9%. Exactly, I say 8 because that's roughly where I can see it at. But if you look, you got to remember he's got the Mangekyo, and Mangekyo does 30%. So if you look at the lower the damage number of the tick, you will see it does about 8% of the 7,000. So it makes it so he's able to do some pretty good damage in the AoE, but mostly whenever you're going bottom path, it's to abuse the ever-living hell out of Mangekyo Sharingan, which is currently the meta right now for kind of pushing really far into Challenge Rift, is characters like Zoro or Madara that can really abuse a lot of the Mangekyo Sharingan and abuse the Genjutsu to get lots of rewinds. Those characters are really what's pushing Challenge Rift right now and really helping people succeed. Because you're able to really abuse the ever-living hell out of that one thing, basically. So let's go ahead, actually. This is like 20-something waves. Let's just put down some Sanjis and just max them out. You know, hey, free money never hurt anybody. So we're going to do this. We're going to put down another Sanji really quickly. And then we're going to put down a last Sanji, or we're going to max the last Sanji, as to say. Like I said, this is 25 waves. We'll have plenty of time to showcase literally everything, and I do want to showcase that. I want to showcase the kitchen. I believe I have cutscenes on, so we will get to see the cutscene. There is a little audio that plays, but it's very subtle. It's very quiet. I guess they didn't want to get copyright, which I don't blame them. But yeah, it is really cool. So, yeah. You guys can see the amount of damage he can dish out, even though the enemy has 30k HP and he has 14k attack. He is still shredding them because, not because of crits. Not because of crits. He's shredding them because of the DOT procs that are coming through. I don't know the exact duration of his DOTs. I do believe the top one, I was told, does like basically not, well, I think it does 95% of his damage 10 times. That's what I've seen, at least, that it does around 95% of his attack stat. But I will have to like check and see. I know it's a lot. I know it's basically 10 times of his damage, because that's what I was told. And then also 3 times on upgrade 3 and 4, and then on upgrade 5 it should be 10 times his damage. So we're almost there. It's almost time to unleash the Malevolent Kitchen on them, and you guys can see what that thing does. And then I also want to test something too. See if I can kind of break it. But you guys can see the 6k ticks as well as the 1050 ticks. I believe the 1050 ticks are coming from this itself, because like I said, it's only like 8% or something like that. It's a very low percentage on the bleed, but if you want DOT path, you're really going to want to go top path. So you can see his attack absolutely skyrocket whenever I hit the final upgrade of the bottom path, because they want to make it so you have a really big attack stat. And then we gotta hit the kitchen. And you can see the Malevolent Shrine here. It just does a ton of damage in a full AoE. You can see it's sitting here doing 20k a tick, and each one has the ability to crit too. I've noticed that, because this isn't a DOT. This is just a hit. So it's doing really strong hits. It's really damn good. And yeah, and because he's a DOT unit, he's actually able to fully shred through shields, which is really nice. But then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go top path now, because his top path is where you're going to see a lot of contention, because the attack stat looks rather low, but this isn't really the attack stat. The attack stat is actually 10 times this, so it's realistically more around 208,000 than it is 20,000, right? And this is what I mean by he's very back-end loaded. Like, a lot of his later upgrades are very strong. They are really good. Like, the last upgrade on this one is very good. The last upgrade on the bottom path is very good. It's just you have to get there first, right? And I think because of the way exponential scaling works and the way his DOT multipliers works, I do believe he could lose some of his damage on these later upgrades to feed it back into the rest of his kit to make his early game that much more successful, because I do believe that's where he struggles a good bit, which I'll showcase here in a little bit afterwards. So yeah, you guys can see how much damage he does. I'm gonna go ahead, do a little hop and a skip, and just skip forward onto the boss now, so you guys can see how much damage Fugo does on the boss, so you can watch Sukuna cook Sukuna with Furnace. Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and let's get to it. All right, we got the boss. As you can see, I was alt tab, so I'll probably be silent for a little bit at the beginning of this. But you can see he absolutely melts the boss, absolutely shreds it, because, like I said, he does 10 times of his damage. Basically, essentially, does 10 times his damage here at the very end of it. Oh boy, one whole drop. Ah, pain! Anyways, he does like 10 times his damage at the very last DOT, so he can actually end up hitting extremely hard. He can hit very, very hard and do some massive work. The only issue comes in terms of his early game. His early game, it does leave quite a bit to be desired. While I'm sitting here really quickly, how long do I got? The 1 day, 7 hours. Okay, that's good to know. But his early game does leave a good bit to be desired. We're going to go into floor 147. Before you guys be like, Valk, no shit, he can't clear floor 147. No duh, I know he can't. But I want to show you guys the difference in early game between the paths and his top path, and why I want to explain why his top path is not going to perform as well as his bottom path, and exactly what the current meta for Challenge Rift really is. Because a lot of people think it's just Giga buff the hell out of one unit, which is half true. The other meta, the other side of things, is how well can X unit abuse the ever-living hell out of the Mangekyo Sharingan. So first off, we're going to go top path. I think I might have already messed up for top path. It'll be fine, right? We're going to try to go top path here. I believe I get top path in time. The only question is, do I get might? I don't know. But I want to show you guys top path. You guys can see, like I said, his first upgrades are basically not there. They just might as well not exist. I don't think that they are going to provide much value. We're not going to kill them, so might as well just do this. That way I can get might to try and essentially do as much as I can. So top path, you guys can see how much damage he's able to do through the 3 times damage. It's actually pretty good damage. It's just because of the smaller AoE sizes he has, he's not able to keep up with the output of other units. And this is what I was talking about with his early game issues, is the fact that he just doesn't have the AoE size to go ahead and keep up with other units. So how many is he going to kill? He got I think he got 1 or 2. I think he got 2 off the first wave, right? So we're going to go ahead and replay. We're going to go back to the bottom one. And this is what I was talking about with the AoE size. You guys will see, because it's a line, and on this map specifically, he's going to perform a lot better on the bottom path than he would the top path. We're going to do the exact same start. Literally the exact same one. We're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to hit this 2 times. We're going to do this. And we're going to, this time, focus heavily on the bottom path for Sukuna. We're going to put him a little bit further back than he was last time. Actually, I think he was around this exact same spot, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and put him here. We're going to do this. And then we're going to go ahead and activate Cleave, which will give us that line that we so desire, right? Having that line is going to be really, really, really important. So now that we have that, we can grab these 2. And now he's at 6,107 attack. And you guys will get to see exactly what he can do with the Genjutsu, and how you abuse the hell out of Genjutsu, and why it's a current meta. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with good old Sukuna. I probably, it's not fair that I put this down for this one and not the other one. So you guys can see. You guys can see the amount of damage that bottom path does compared to top path. He actually didn't get a single kill this time. Yeah, I guess that kind of happens. But you guys can see the amount of damage difference between the two. And the main thing is getting that base damage there, so he's actually able to kill stuff inside the AoE. Because the current meta for Challenge Rift is who can abuse the Mangekyo Sharingan the best, right? So you're looking for a cheap AoE, cheap range, cheap etc. Which he has good cheap range. Which is why I keep saying this, but my opinion of this unit may change drastically once I get him ranked 10. I'm going to make a follow-up video for rank 10, but I wanted to give you guys my initial impressions of this unit, that I think that you are probably better off just straight up investing in Madara if you have Madara. But my opinion could change drastically at rank 10 once I get him there, and I'll probably have a somewhat skewed view because I do have him with Omnipotent, so I haven't seen what he looks like without it. But having a cheap unit with Omnipotent on one placement just sounds really, really good. Anyways, thank you guys for watching as always. Let me know what you guys think about Sukuna in the comment section below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is he mid? Is he strong? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.